shunned people, ex Jehovah's Witnesses. So, as some of you already know, I always believed that I was trafficked as a child. And I never could get mom and dad to talk to me about it. So, um, I wanted to write a book, and that would mean I would have to go to New York. And I was having problems with my passport and getting a visa because, you need a visa to be able to earn money in the United States. So I'm now going to play a recording that I got, or me and my partner got from FOIA, of what John believes is a U.S. State Department official calling him, asking him about my adoption. Now, please listen closely.
Hello? Hello. My name is Agent Death. Is this John DeSadler? John Robert DeSadler?
Yeah, well, who are you?
Yeah, my name is Agent Death. I'm calling on behalf of the United States State Department. I wanted to confirm that I was speaking with John Robert DeSadler, born July 25th, 1939, Windsor, Ontario.
Yes?
We're trying to process an application, an H-2 visa, for Carrie Raylene DeSadler, born April 22, 68, Toronto, Ontario. And the reason for the call is some red flags have come up with trying to prove identities, where they were raised regarding a birth certificate that was provided by Canadian Bureau of Vital Statistics. So all the relevant documentation that Ms. DeSadler has been able to provide us is unable to confirm the adoption contracting agency and where the child was picked up from. Our investigation also turned up a letter dated from June 27th of 1990 from a Mr. Frank Matrill, stating that he had never handled this adoption. Could you please confirm to ask where you picked your daughter up from and who the adoption was contracted with?
Yeah, that last thing doesn't make any sense.
What last name?
Yeah, my wife and I, the one from Montreal.
Oh, Frank Matrill doesn't make sense to you? Because it's the only name I mentioned.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, if he was a lawyer in Toronto, Ontario, at the time.
Well, the investigation.
Now,
go ahead.
I'm sorry?
No, go ahead.
Yeah, my wife and I are Jehovah's Witnesses. Okay, and we were at the time of the birth of who became our daughter. So this Karen Raylene DeSadler. She was born Janet May Magnus.
Right, we have that.
In Toronto, on that birth date that you have.
Right.
Now, in those days, I don't know what it's like now, but in those days, Jehovah's Witnesses could not adopt in Canada without agreeing that if something happened, that they would say yes to a blood transfusion. So I don't know how much you're aware of that.
I'm a little aware of the religious practices and what you're not willing to.
All right, yeah. So at that time, we were not allowed to adopt. The only way we could adopt is if someone who was having a child, specifically, they and their family said that they wanted the child raised by Jehovah's Witnesses.
And that's where
that's where Motrill came in.
Okay.
He was acting on behalf of Jehovah's Witnesses at that time.
Well, yeah.
And it was through his offices that we, through Jehovah's Witnesses in Canada, we were put in touch with him, and he informed us there was going to be a child born. We didn't know whether it was male or female, and we had to say, yes, we want the child, regardless. So my wife and I said yes, the child was born as Janet May Magnus. We picked her up from his office in Toronto, and his secretary had picked her up from the hospital itself. And we took her from his offices back to London, Ontario,
You know, what
Canada,
would be
where
helpful-
we live.
What would be helpful is if there were a record of live birth from that hospital, then we could verify the identity much easier. We don't have that. What hospital was that?
Good question. I don't know offhand.
And you have no
Look,
document?
I can go back through. I don't have all the records anymore, but I do have some. So if you could give me an address, I will go through what I've got and send copies to you.
Okay, well, let's do it this way, because we have field agents that are going to continue on with the investigation. Because we're, as far as this application is concerned, some red flags have come up, and we are referring most of this back to our Canadian counterparts for their further investigation. We believe that they have this under the purview of an Anti-Human Trafficking Act. So you will be contacted by the Australian authorities with due process. Thank you very much for your time, sir. Goodbye.
No, that's okay. So, are we going to be legally viable or legally viable?
Like,
Legally accountable for something now?
I don't know. I can't advise you. I could say that you might want to talk to an attorney. I can't advise you as to what the legal ramifications are. I only know that the investigation is taking the course that it has to take. And as I
So there you go. The only thing he seems to be worried about is whether he would be held legally responsible now. So, one, he does not know where I was born or what hospital. Two, Frank Mitrell, who I contacted in the 90s, denied even knowing him or handling an adoption. 3, he doesn't know where I was born. 4, I've already posted the one document they have, which was when I was 11 months old, and they got my name changed by deed poll. So, Canadian Constitution, even back in 68, 69, you cannot discriminate against creed or religion. So there is no way that the reason that they were not allowed to adopt a child was because they were Jehovah's Witnesses. And who could foresee whether that child would ever need blood? That's ridiculous. The reason, which I found out, that they were denied was because they both failed the psychological test. They were deemed high risk for abuse. Now that's just one phone recording I've got. I have many more. I don't know where I was born. They don't know where I was born. They picked me up from a man after the government told them they couldn't adopt a baby. That's how I know I was human trafficked. Stay tuned for my next video, folks. Peace out.